Hey, welcome back. One of the things I really love about where we're at is we have dozens and dozens of different types and variety of trees. And so what I want to do over the next many months is take some time to spotlight those different variety of trees. And so we're going to do our first video today. We're going to do a video on the Serviceberry tree, also known as a Juneberry tree. And what we've done, we've lined our driveway with those actually back in 2021. And so a little bit of a history there, a little story, is after the derecho in 2020, we had one of the state foresters come out to sort of assess all the damage from the derecho and give us some, tips and pointers about what we should do in terms of cleanup and different trees that we could replace in certain areas. He came out. It was February. He walked the whole property, which was awesome. Very nice of him to do that. Gave us some good recommendations on cleanup and what we should do there. But separately, we were kind of finished with that discussion around the cleanup and kind of replanting of different trees. And then we asked him, we said, hey, we're thinking about lining our driveway with trees. Do you have a recommendation for driveway trees? And without missing a beat, he spit out Serviceberry. He's like, easy to grow, easy to maintain, beautiful tree. So I want to highlight that tree today and give you a little bit more information about that. So I'm going to turn the camera around. Like I said, we've lined our driveway with those, and we did that back in 2021. And so there's 14 trees on each side, but it's kind of interesting. It produces a really nice fruit. Zoom in here. So it's June. So middle of June right now, and it's called a Serviceberry tree, but also known as a Juneberry tree, and this is why. It produces a fruit that is somewhat of a cross between in terms of flavor, somewhat of a cross between a blueberry and a cherry, but it has a little bit of a nutty flavor to it. So you can make jams, pies, etc. Birds absolutely love it. Small animals, if it, squirrels if it falls to the ground. So awesome tree. It turns white in the spring, so it flowers white, very beautiful color in the spring. In the fall, it's yellow orange, a little bit of auburn, and so it's one of those trees that honestly, I didn't have any reason to doubt him, but he was actually absolutely right. Super easy to grow, super easy to take care of and maintain. They like full sun, full sun, at least several hours a day of sun, well-drained soils. You can kind of see they do grow in multiple trunks, you might say. So that's one thing to consider when you're thinking about potentially putting in a Serviceberry. This is an even better view of it right here. Is you could end up with multiple trunks. Now you could prune that when they're really young. You can prune them to only be a single, but you have to be really on the spot with that, and you have to stay on top of that. Clearly we did not. we had a lot going on when we first moved out here, so we probably didn't do the best job of pruning and getting a single tree, but you can grow them as almost like a bush or a multi-trunk tree. So single, multi, whatever you prefer. But yeah, just a really great tree. They get to be anywhere from, let's see, 15 to 25 feet, depending on the variety. There's essentially 3 different varieties of Serviceberries. They last anywhere from 30 to 60 years, from what I understand. And so, again, just a really awesome tree to think about planting if you're considering planting a tree and you want a low maintenance tree. Beautiful colors, awesome fruit. Birds love them. Birds absolutely go crazy for this fruit. They won't stay on the tree very long. The reason I'm doing this video right now is because the fruit just came out about 2 days ago is when it finally started to turn and ripen. So just an idea of kind of what's possible in terms of lining a driveway. Again, great recommendation from the state forester, and that's a free service if you're ever interested in having a forester come out. They'll do that. They love doing that. Talk to you about different recommendations for your property, for your trees. We haven't really had any issues with, this one has a little bit, you can kind of see, kind of zoom in here. We sprayed it about a week ago. So minor maintenance really. We went around to all of our fruit trees and sprayed fungicide and bacterial side just to, you know, if we started to see some browning leaves and stuff like that. So anyway, this is the Serviceberry. We get them from the state forest, the state nursery in Ames. They come in bundles of 25. You've heard me mention that a bunch of times. If you don't live in central Iowa, you don't have to pick them up. They can ship them to you. They're very cheap. I think they're like $1 or $1.25 a piece. So we needed 14 for each side of the driveway, so we ended up with 28. So we had to order 2 bundles. So there's definitely, there was some extras that we had, so we planted them in different parts of the property. So I'm gonna finish up this part of the video, and then we're gonna go check out the other ones on the other side of the property and see how they're doing. And we'll provide some more information on them over there. But yeah, great for lining a driveway, low maintenance, easy to grow. Okay, so we're on the other side, kind of in the middle of the property here, showing you where these other Serviceberries are located. Like I said, they come in bundles of 25, so we had 2 bundles, we had 50 total. And so we decided to just put them in various places around the property to help with erosion control. That's what these ones are here for. Try to help with a little, not only aesthetic and replacement of some dead areas or some sparse areas around here, but also we have a little situation here where a little bit of a drop off, about 30 feet, no big deal. Yesterday I was down here and there was a deer right in that region and I scared it and it scared me, but that's okay. He was down there 30 feet. She was down there 30 feet, so no big deal. But this whole area, a lot of erosion. Grass is kind of tall right there. It's hard to see, but this was a good place to put some additional trees. And so we planted, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. Looks like about 8 of them here. And they're coming along really nicely. Again, super easy to grow. We've essentially done nothing to these trees except for mow around them. Obviously the driveway trees we've you know, done a little bit more in terms of trying to mow around and look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. There's some tall grass around the bases of the driveway trees right now. We're going to be putting down a different type of weed mat in the coming weeks, but I've literally done nothing to these trees other than, you know, put the posts up and tube them, and they take off. They're easy to grow. They grow 12 to 24 inches a year. And so these ones right now, again, there's the fruit coming in. These ones right now are about 7-8 feet tall. So that's one section. I'll go show you the other section. here's another section where we stuck some of these serviceberries. See, we did 2, 4, 5 on this little section, and I think on the other side of that bush or tree back there, there's more. So again, these ones are doing really well. In fact, this one, this tells you how like hardy these things are. This one a deer took out, like mauled the tree tube and like decimated the tree, and a year later it's back. So I'm not saying that's going to happen in every case, but we thought we were going to have to pull everything up and do something different here. Didn't get around to it, and lo and behold, we've got the tree back. So not producing any fruit yet, but that's okay. This one is. So again, these trees, this one's got, whoa, lots of fruit. Holy cow. Falling under its own weight almost from the fruit. So again, these tubes are 3 to 4 years old. They're starting to get a little bit brittle. They're starting to fall apart a little bit. We got to do some maintenance here. Just get a tube replaced. And saw me talk about in previous videos, we've kind of cracked the code in terms of the length of the stakes. This is a hodgepodge. This is just a number of different lengths of stakes that we used. This is what you want. You want that stake to go up about as high as the top of the tree tube, and that's it. You don't want the stake extending above the tree tube, because otherwise it's going to rub into the tree, which it's done a little bit of right there. Kind of hard to see. So a little bit of maintenance here, not because of the tree, just because the materials that we use to plant the tree are getting a little bit dated in terms of like the tree tubes, like I mentioned. And then we'll dump a few pints of water here right around that stake, and then just pound that in a little bit further, and then we'll have a flush stake like this one on this tree here. Very nice. Anyway, that fruit's not going to last long. The birds absolutely love it. Speaking of fruit that birds love, if you've ever been out on an acreage anywhere, you know that mulberry trees are extremely prolific. And so the mulberries are starting to come forth and change. They'll get a lot bigger than this right here, and then it'll be time to harvest mulberries. So I'll do a video on that. Mulberry trees are an interesting piece of nature because, you know, a bird sits on a fence, does its business, flies away. Not too long after, a mulberry tree pops up, and no help from a human, takes off and grows and flourishes. And then we humans plant trees and we struggle to keep them going and keep them alive. But anyway, here's a little bit of a situation. I've got some invasive stuff over here I need to deal with, and this is growing into my mulberry tree here, so I need to come and chop that down, get that out of the way. Again, mulberry trees are in hardiness zones 4 through 9 for those of you thinking about planting. So pretty wide area that you can capture. Here's a few more. So we got 11 total in this area. But yeah, again, tree tube, need a new tree tube. Tree itself is doing awesome. Massive. These ones are actually closer to 12 to 13 feet. And I think the difference there is just soil type. Soil's a little bit richer than it is up by the driveway. It's a little sandier, a little loamier. Here the soil type is a little bit better, so I think these are doing a little bit better because of that. So anyway, one more section to show you. Alright, this is the last little section where we planted some. This is a no-no that we learned the hard way. Don't ever use wooden stakes when you're planting trees. Trust me, just don't ever do that. You will not be happy. Doesn't matter what kind of wooden stake you use. I don't know. Maybe there's a wooden stake out there that doesn't break down over time, but I haven't found it yet. That's why we moved to the 6-foot T-posts. So we've got a little bit of, again, nothing to do with the tree. It's more tree support material type stuff on our end. We need to come down here and replace a few of these wooden stakes that are just deteriorating, breaking apart, don't do a very good job at all, and get some metal stakes down here. We've done that with a couple of them already, but anyway, this is where we stuck the rest of them, kind of along this tree line where you see the white tubes. So that concludes the tour, if you will, for the Serviceberry, the spotlight on the Serviceberry. Awesome tree, easy to grow, easy to maintain, takes really well. We didn't replace, I don't think, of the 50 that we planted, I think we replaced one, and that was just an anomaly, right? Out of 50, that's a great percentage. And so, beautiful colors in the spring, white flowers, fruit in June. Birds love it, small animals love it. Humans can eat it. That's a good fruit. Kids go out there and they pick it. They get what the birds, they try to get it before the birds get it. And then in the fall, you know, yellow, auburn colors. So 15 to 25 feet. Awesome tree. Check it out. Get excited about conservation. Get involved with conservation efforts. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share so we can promote conservation as much as possible. Thank you.